Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, to start with, one, I don't know any alien secrets. And two, the whole Chinese corona anal probe is true. I posted a link to their version of CDC, and there's a translation of a document where it talks about it at number 8. So, we're going to talk about socialized medicine or a single payer system or Medicare for all, the different systems. And one of the things that politicians on both sides refuse to take it. But you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share with your friends if you enjoy what I'm doing. Let's get some comments going, some discussion. This should be a pretty good one to get some discussion going about. And if you disagree with what I'm saying, and hit dislike and tell me why. We can have a discussion about it. We can try to figure it out because I may learn something from you by doing this. Socialized medicine, a single payer system, Medicare for all. Now, the cost of prescription drugs and medical care in general is through the roof. It's crazy. And something does need to be done to control it and figure out how to lower it or figure out how to help people. On the other hand, what you're hearing from politicians, from progressives and socialists and liberals, is, well, we'll just tax the rich. We'll tax the billionaires. We'll tax the large corporations that are surviving on corporate welfare. Well, here's the problem with that. Even if you tax all the Jeff Bezos, the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates, and their corporations, you're still not going to come up with enough money to pay for it. And the example I'll use, because people always bring up Northern Europe and the way their health care system is run. The part they don't bring up is they have higher top level tax rates than we do on millionaires and billionaires. They do. And on corporations. Ours are lower than theirs. But so is the average person. And when I say average person, I'm going to speak on people making a salary between $40,000 to $100,000 a year. That's considered pretty much middle class. So we're going to stick with that for now. Well, on that income, in Denmark, you're charged somewhere between 35.6 and 49.5% of what you make a year. In Germany, it's 39.3. Whereas in the United States, it averages out to 16.9%. So we're talking almost tripling or up to tripling what you pay in taxes. And whereas if they raise my taxes for specific things that I agree with, like better education, better mental health programs, or healthcare, I don't have a huge issue with that. Where my issue comes in is they raise my taxes and they don't do these things. If they say, okay, well, we're going to raise your taxes this much to facilitate this program, then that money should go into a lockbox. And that's the only thing it can be used for is that program. But that's not the way it works. You have senators and representatives that use those tax dollars to try to get them back into their districts with various programs or defense spending. And the program they were supposed to establish is funded at 50% or is cut so far down it really doesn't matter. So Europe and the way they fund it is through taxes. But that's not the only part of it, because they also, regardless if it's a conservative, if it's a liberal, it's a socialist, they leave out the part that medical services in these countries they're a cog in a larger wheel. It's their entire economies are built and designed so that they can facilitate these social welfare programs, which I don't have an issue with having robust social welfare programs, and we do need them, but I think we horribly manage them, and that's the idea of the government taking care of healthcare. And my healthcare is done through VA, so the government is taking care of my healthcare. But I get pretty good service because of the VA hospital that's here where I live. It's not the same at all VA hospitals. Now, the way their economies are based, you have to go all the way back to how they educate. Because at 12 or 13 years old, a decision's made about where you stand. And I use Germany as an example because I'm the most familiar with that, but they have what they call gymnasium, which is where your doctors, your lawyers, probably your future politicians, your professors, that's where they go to school. Then you have Hauptschule, which is like your professions. Think of nurses, think of accountants. Then you have Realschule, which is where you get your manual laborers, your carpenters, your plumbers, which there's nothing wrong with that. But because of the way they break it down at that age, it almost becomes like a caste system. If you are somebody selected to go to Realschule, you're not going to go to a university. And the reason I have an issue with that is, at 12 or 13 years old, I was a little turd in school. I did okay when I wanted to, but I ended up dropping out of high school. I didn't even finish high school. And now I dual majored for my Bachelor of Science. I have a master's in public administration. I'm working on a second master's, and immediately after that I'll start a PhD program. I would not have had the option to do that. But part of the reason they do that is they don't waste money. I'm not going to completely agree with the end result, or I'm not going to completely agree with the process or that it's a great system, and I don't think we need to go to that. But it gets results, because then when these students graduate and they enter the workforce, there's also a way more robust apprenticeship program for some of these, what you would consider manual labor professions, like plumbers or carpenters or electricians, which I think we need a more robust system in our country to produce these. 20 years from now, it'll be easier to find a lawyer than it will be a plumber. Now, employment. We talk about the example, this whole discussion came about because somebody posted about socialized medicine, and in Denmark, a McDonald's worker makes $22 an hour. And in the United States, they make 15, which is kind of high for most places, but it is what it is. Now, when you look at the total salary they make by the end of the year, in the United States, they're paying less than 16% based on what they make if that's the only income. In Denmark, they're paying 36% of what they make, on top of a 25% sales tax, on top of annual value-added tax of things they own. Now, who comes out ahead in that? Yes, there are a lot of services. They also have lower unemployment, not because they're better at managing it, because people get up and go to work and they're very industrious, whereas in the United States, we've created systems where it's almost impossible to, if you're being saved by the social welfare net and you get a job making a certain amount of money, you're automatically out of this program, instead of having a graduated program where your first year you can make this much and these are the benefits you still get. And your second year you can make this much and your benefits are reduced a little bit more until we work ourselves out of it. But that takes individual management, which we won't do as a country, because we won't hold our government to it. And they also work more years. And that's what their nation has been built around. So if you don't have the employed base paying these taxes, then you can't afford socialized medicine. They are also in better physical condition than Americans are on average, which is something nobody wants to talk about. You have the healthy at any size movement out there, and no, I'm not talking about fat shaming. In no way, shape, or form. That is a form of bullying, which I have nothing for bullies. I don't like it. I think it's mean. I think it's just something we need to get rid of. We need to work hard to get rid of it. But when you go to the doctor and you have diabetes, you have heart issues, you have respiratory issues, you will go to the doctor more. You will go to the emergency departments more. You will cost more money. I'm actually starting to get up there and starting to feel more things at 48 than I did at 28. And I'm not in as good a shape now as I was at 28. But I'm still in pretty good shape. And I still wear all pretty much the same sizes. And I'll keep that up, because the healthier I stay, the less health issues I have. And I'd advise everybody to look into that. So you add the obesity epidemic in America to the medical costs we already have. Now with socialized medicine, everybody thinks it's going to be this magic pill. Well, the magic pill takes resetting our entire economy, and if we're going to do that as a country, then so be it. But I like these politicians no matter what side they're on. They can be conservative, liberal, socialist, progressive. They're all the same thing. They're all lying to you about this. They're not explaining this is what it will take to get to this. Or this would be the actual cost and what we have to do. They like to throw buzzwords out there, and you have Bernie Sanders talking about how they're going to tax billionaires. Notice he doesn't say millionaires anymore, since he's a millionaire and owns 3 houses. So now it's just the billionaires. And I'm going to quote our president, come on, man. It's just ridiculous. So in order to create a true single payer system or Medicare for all, everybody's taxes are going up. And they're doubling to tripling. Everybody's going to have to pay for it. I don't care what politician says what. And AOC, for the fact that she's got a degree in economics, I don't know how she got it. Because I have one too. And I can look at the numbers in a matter of a half hour and go, yeah, this isn't going to work. There's no way we could do this without completely restructuring our economy. And so be it if that's what we decide to do, but just be prepared for pain and higher taxes along the way. And don't let them lie and tell you anything else. Now with that, like, share, subscribe, give me some comments, hit the little bell icon so you'll know as I post new videos. If you disagree with what I'm saying, then go ahead and hit dislike and tell me why in the comments. But everybody have a good evening, be safe, take care of your families.